Happy fall, y'all, and welcome to Four Women in a Funeral podcast. I'm Lisa Bowie, and I can say y'all because I'm from Missouri, or Missouri, as some people say. And we've got someone else here, I think, from Georgia, who might give us a little y'all as we go through. I'm really excited to have all our listeners here with us today. We have some amazing women funeral directors who join us on Four Women in a Funeral. Elisa Carr, owner of Kelco Supply from Big Lake, Minnesota. Hey, Elisa, how are you?
I'm good. I'm well,
Good.
Thank you.
Good. Is it cold up there?
It was 28 this morning when we woke up, so it's all relative. It's not 35 below, so I'm grateful for that.
35 below. I can't even imagine what that feels like. 28
Yeah, we just
sounds
don't
cold
go
to me.
outside. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Ellen Wynn McBrayer is here with us. She is the current NFDA secretary, just elected this fall. Yay! And on track to be NFDA's first woman president. We're so excited about that. Yay, again. And president of Jones Wynn Funeral Homes and Crematory in Villa Rica, Georgia. And you can say y'all, right? Y'all?
That's right. Y'all can say y'all. That's good.
That's good. A fellow sister. You know, Missouri was a southern state, so I can say y'all because it still works in my family.
You can because y'all beat us this year in football, or
we did.
Auburn, right? Where I graduated from. So.
Yes, my Tigers beat your Tigers. That's we're sad about that, but that's okay that you lost because we're happy about that because we won.
You did.
We're struggling a bit. Alabama, Georgia, those other. Oh gosh, those.
It feels really bad.
You're a hard football team to beat. You really are. And also, let's not forget our own and wonderful Melissa Posey-Luce, who's a Senior Vice President of Communications for Security, National Funeral Homes and Cemeteries out of Salt Lake City, Utah area. Welcome, Melissa.
Hello. It's so great to be here.
Great to have you. And it's probably warmer in Utah, I'm thinking.
Yes. And actually, today I'm in New Mexico. So we've got it even a little bit warmer. So that's great.
That's lovely. That's lovely. Ellen, is it warm in Georgia? Because I heard in Florida the iguanas are dropping out of the trees.
Right? Yeah, no iguanas here, but it is warmer than it was. It was in the 20s 2 days ago. Now we're in the 40s, so it's good.
In the 40s in Georgia. That's crazy. Isn't that nuts? That's a little nuts. Well, let's not forget our special guest today here on Four Women in a Funeral. We are delighted to welcome Cate Collins, who is from, I believe, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Do I have that correct?
That's correct.
Yes. Cold up north? Is it cold up
Well,
in
we had a bit of a snowstorm a couple of days ago, but now the rain has taken all the snow away, so we can see our grass again.
Oh, there you go. So snow in, snow out. Well, you get those lake effects, don't you? Up there in the Great Lakes. Oh, what a beautiful area. Well, let's tell you a little bit about Cate. Cate, of course, has written an amazing book, which is here over my shoulder called The Powerhouse in You. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But she is also a speaker for us, a keynote speaker for 4 hours at our wellness summit that we are sponsoring for funeralwomenlead.org. And we're so excited to have you. And Cate's going to give us a great retreat. In fact, when the listeners are hearing this, we might even be in that retreat. And we'll see how it goes when we release this podcast. But we are excited to have Cate. She's a wonderful international leadership speaker, trainer, and retreat facilitator. And of course, she's the author and CEO of Powerful Journey Consulting. She spent her career helping leaders step into their power with clarity, courage, and authenticity. And after facing burnout herself, and we want to hear about that, Cate, because we're going to talk about burnout today. That's so prevalent in our profession, especially for women. They had this happen early in your career, and you developed a unique approach to self-leadership that has now supported thousands of professionals across North America. Your work is known for being practical, compassionate, and deeply empowering. We could use some of that today. I'm thinking we're in November here, and we're facing the holidays, and it's getting stressful. And this is especially for women who are carrying a lot. Do you think women in funeral service carry a lot, ladies, on our shoulders?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I know. I can see it in Melissa's face if anybody's watching this. She's traveling to how many different states this week?
That's okay. Well, but I just heard about this from a funeral director yesterday who asked to spend some time with me. And yeah, we need to have this conversation.
This is great. This is great. Well, good timing for everybody that Cate is here with us. And of course, her signature four-room framework, let's say that 4 times in a row and see if we can get that right. It's a powerful tool to help women connect with themselves, reset their inner dialogue, and rise with resilience, when we can always use more resilience. So Cate's message is really meaningful for all of us in funeral service today. And it helps us navigate emotional labor, helps us with our high responsibility and a constant call that we all have as funeral directors to care for others. Cate, we're so grateful to have you with us. Welcome.
So grateful to be here. Thank you for asking me.
You're most welcome. And she's apologizing for the background in her room because she's changing homes as we speak. And so she's sitting in an empty room.
Yes.
God bless you. A little stressful time for you before you show up in Arizona.
It's definitely a full time.
It is a full time. It's all that packing stuff, right? And you
Yes,
hope everything gets there in one piece.
Yeah, thank you. It will.
Well, we're really honored to have you. And we'd like to start off and kick this off by asking you a question. What drew you to focusing on women's leadership and resilience work, especially for women who are balancing so much emotional and professional areas of their lives?
I would say it's a great question. For me, I think obviously being a female leader, it's one that I experience all the time. Also, I'm a leadership coach. So for me, and I work predominantly with female, seeing a lot of patterns, and I'm seeing a lot of, we'll get into a little bit more deeper about what those patterns are, but what drew me into it, quite frankly, was my own story, my own journey of being brought to my knees. I was in a very toxic environment, had a very emotionally abusive male boss, and uh, quite frankly, I just burned out. I mean, at that time, I was a family and children's counselor, and yes, we dealt with a lot of trauma as far as family abuse, sexual abuse, suicide, all those sorts of things, suicide aftermath. But really, it was the culture that was so toxic, Lisa. It was really bad. It was kind of like, we'll tell you what to think and what to say and when to do it. And so it was very stifling. And I'm grateful to this very day that I got a new boss, a female boss, and she said, Cate, they don't even see you. They've clipped your wings. And I thought, whoa, that was the very first supervision. And I thought, okay, she's trying to get rid of me. But the truth was, I think it was an intervention for me to go, you better pay attention here. You love what you do. You're passionate about serving. However, at the end of the day, when the senior people don't see me, I need to step it up. So I ended up taking that stress leave. And again, it was a pretty dark time in my life because I thought I was Superwoman, you know? Uh, when I look back, it was so unrealistic. You know, I had so many things, so many balls in the air. I expected way too much from myself. And so it was when I took that stress leave, which was very difficult for this AAA personality to take that stress leave, because back then it wasn't common. And I remember my boss said, when I told my boss, he said, "You're done as of today," and slammed the office door and then skidded out of the parking lot. And I thought, okay, I guess no hugs are happening here. And then my male physician said, wouldn't it be great if we could all take time off at this time? Because it was in November, many, many years ago. And I just was dumbfounded do you have any idea how hard this was for me to come to you to say that I need this time off? I'm not sleeping well. My stomach is off. I'm having difficulties in my marriage. I'm not retaining anything. And I was, when I was at home, I was crying, and it was unexplained. I couldn't explain what it was. So it was during that time that a former boss and good friend of mine called me and said, Cate, we don't talk about this enough in our field. That this is something that we need to talk about. It isn't this dirty thing. It's a reality of when you're serving people in this capacity and at a very vulnerable time in their lives, that we're going to get the secondary trauma. We're going to have different situations happen where it's going to be difficult. And I think looking back there, because all of the senior leaders were male, for me, I think it was that they didn't really grasp, what we brought to the table as females. And that was also difficult. So everybody was trying to be seen. And as a result, sometimes we banged into each other, not physically, but certainly at meetings, there were definitely unnecessary conflict that didn't need to happen. It was more about let's divide versus let's unite.
Wow. That's crazy. And this is like November anniversary for you. So do you have any challenges with almost kind of like flashbacks or PTSD ever
Yeah,
this month? Does it come back to you, and how does that
it's
affect you?
interesting. It's around Remembrance Day, actually,
Oh,
when I took my stress leave. And if I'm with someone that's big and burly, like
oh,
or boss, and
yeah,
they're aggressive, yeah, I can definitely get triggered. Uh,
yeah.
so I have to always be in check. And even this time of year, sometimes I can feel it come on, as you were alluding to. This is a time for a lot of us as females because we're the glue oftentimes in our families, and we're the ones that anchor everybody, and we're very relational. And so meanwhile, all these overcommitments, all of these extra when our plate is already
Oh, you think we do
overfull.
that, ladies? Do we overcommit? Okay, so everybody in the room, raise your hand if you overcommit. Anyone? Oh, all of us, right? All hands up.
Two hands.
Right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Two hands. Why do we do that, Kate? Why do you think
Yes.
we overcommit?
I think, okay, so we're going to jump in. I love this. So I was really fortunate to be handpicked to train with Jack Canfield. He's a Chicken Soup for the Soul. He's one of the co-authors. He wrote a book called The Success Principles, and that's really my training for a year with Jack. Was in Arizona, ironically,
Oh, nice.
Scottsdale, Arizona, and as well as California. And he talks about there's three main limiting beliefs that we all have. And why is that important? Because anybody that comes within your inner circle and the people that you serve, they are operating from one of those. And that is, I'm not good enough or I'm not smart enough. So as a result, unless we get an opportunity to really connect with that part of us, that wounded side, that somewhere along the line, somebody quite frankly lied to us that we weren't good enough in some area, that we've taken that script on the road, and therefore we're constantly in this proving state. Well, I need to prove that I'm worthy. I need to prove that I'm good enough. I need to prove that I'm smart enough, when the reality is you already are. It doesn't matter. I mean, I've had the good fortune to coach psychologists and psychiatrists, and they question, are they smart enough? So to me, I think this is right across. Everybody has something that is holding them back. Somewhere that inner critic is, kind of coming out probably when they are overcommitting or when they're tired or not
Okay,
feeling.
so we have inner critics. None of us have those, right? None of us criticize
Right.
ourselves. That imposter
Right.
syndrome thing, right?
Oh, that's
So,
exactly.
oh, it's so hard. Like when you're growing up running a funeral home or you're a funeral director, you're constantly second guessing yourself. So why do we do that? Why do we do that, ladies? Why do we second guess ourselves?
Well,
Because you want
it's the narrative. Oh, go ahead.
Well, you go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm just saying it's the narrative that we've been given, and we've bought into it. I think at least that's part of my story. And as I sit here and I hear you say these things, I think too, if you're hearing that from yourself, and then you're hearing that from other people outside of yourself, that's just validating the whole thing, and that's really hard to get through. Do you have any suggestions as to how to wade through all of that?
Believe in ourselves more.
Yeah, and I think also too, for me, it's stay in our own lane. I think that sometimes for me, it's a great question. I think sometimes too, we just need to take a step back. I'm a firm believer that that if I'm questioning myself, if I'm not feeling good enough, the world is going to mirror that.
Mm.
So the more that I'm anchored within myself and reminding myself, my old limiting belief, watch my language, my old limiting belief, and by the way, that could be just 15 minutes ago, that could be 1 hour ago. My old limiting belief is I'm not worthy enough. So for me, I remind myself I am worthy.
Ah,
I am so worthy, and I deserve this success. I deserve this opportunity. I've got what it takes. And, I think that a lot of it is too just being mindful of that chatter. See, I really believe that that inner critic actually is rooting for us. We just need to retrain it to become our best inner coach, because
oh,
it
that's a
does
cool
want to
idea.
lead. It does
So
want to lead.
retrain our inner critic to become our inner coach. Okay,
Mhm.
so those are some things I know that we will learn from you. I know it's probably in your book, and it's probably in the area of the 4-room framework where we're going to retrain that inner coach, inner critic to an inner coach. I love that.
Mhm.
So this sounds like hard work, Kate. Is it hard work? And of
Well,
course, we're not afraid of hard work, but
I
how
think
long does this take?
Well, it's interesting. So when you say hard work, I'm very big on language. So to me, language carries energy. So I don't like to say hard. I don't like to say stressed out. I'm
Okay.
very, I train myself and I'm not saying I don't think it sometimes, ladies. Please don't put sister or like Mother Teresa in front of me. That's not exactly where I'm going. But for me, I try to retrain myself to go, okay, so if you say it's hard, then my brain is like a computer, it's going to follow suit. So I think that with commitment and consistency, everything's possible. So for me, it's just like, oh, there you are. There you are. Reminding me, no, that's not true. I totally have this. I totally have this.
It's a confidence builder within yourself, I believe.
Yeah, well
And
said.
we don't do that well enough, I don't think, as women.
Or with each other, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and this was part of the topics that at the Minnesota Funeral Directors Women's Conference yesterday is like when you get a compliment from somebody about how well you're doing on something, or any compliment. It could be personal, it could be work related. You're like, oh, come on now, that's you're being too nice, right? Just accept that and let it sit within you and resonate in a way that you actually do feel like you are confident in what you're doing. So I really do think that you talk yourself out of being, less confident, and that your abilities aren't there and you're not worthy, or giving your permission, yourself permission to say, I can do this, or I need help. We don't ask for help in ways that we should. So
and I
that
love
really
that you
can.
said, because when you think about it, I don't know about you ladies, but I was brought up, oh, don't say that, or like at the
Yeah.
door,
Yeah.
like and it's just so I remember, love you, mom, but she would say to our son, oh, don't, she would repeat that. I go, no, 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 mom, we
Yeah.
don't do that in our family. No, we're trying to build up self-confidence. So this isn't about so that, he may become an astronaut. I don't know. But to me, it's just about really pouring into his self-worth and his self-esteem. This isn't about being egotistical. They're very different. So in some ways, I've needed to uncondition myself some of those things, because you're exactly right. I think that, it's, you don't want to look arrogant. You don't want to, I think you can still be humble and receive the gift. I agree.
Confidence, but not arrogance. Yes.
That's, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Well
do you
said.
feel like as you build those layers of confidence, do those layers then build into and I hesitate to use this word because of the language, right? But kind of an armor or a protective shield about you, so that when people do hit you with those arrows,
Mhm.
it bounces off, or it becomes something that's more doable, more you can work with that.
It's a good word. I mean, the shield needs to make sure that I have no problem with being a mirror so that it bounces out there. So whatever the name. And so to me, I think at the same time as I see, I'm a firm believer everybody's a teacher. I'm grateful, and we're all teachers, we're all students. And so when I think back to that boss of mine, he was a great teacher. He taught me about what not to accept. He taught me that you don't define my worth. He taught me that, what's acceptable behavior, what's not acceptable behavior. He taught me that this isn't a place where I need to be because I don't feel psychologically safe.
Mm,
He taught me what not to do as a leader. And
that's
so I'm
interesting.
grateful. I'm grateful for that. Now, do I want to go back there? He later got fired, um, no, I don't. And I won't accept that behavior anymore. But I also want to say to you as well that part of it I have to take responsibility for. And what do I mean by that? Is that if my self-esteem, I say this a lot to clients, a 1 out of 10, 10 being high, 1 being low. If my self-esteem was like a 9 out of 10, I would not have tolerated that. I would not have stayed there 15 years. He was at a different office. I could give you all kinds of reasons why I stayed. But at the end of the day, abuse is abuse, and aggression is aggression. And so, for me, we can't take the stripes off the zebra. But what I needed to do is take responsibility of, I've tolerated behavior too long. So I think that, yes, let it ricochet off and, be mindful of where it's coming from. Because some people, how do I say this? They weren't born that way. Something's happened to them. And so for me, I try to use compassion if I can and realize this isn't even about me. This is about them and their unrealistic expectations that they have for themselves. So they're trying to spew it on me, and no, thank you. I'm not interested. I'm
I'm
not.
s- I'm so grateful for your vulnerability in that moment, and for that messaging, because I feel like there's a fine line in the victim mentality, and then learning from hard times. And I appreciate your messaging, and to be able to mentor young women, especially in funeral service, because I feel like there is a lot of pain that does happen when people do get beat down and discouraged. And I feel like your messaging is spot on to help encourage stronger women, and taking more, control, and to be a self advocate, and how to do that, especially when you, and I would like to ask this question too, to transition, like, and it may not be the best question, I'm not sure, but how do you, as a strong, independent female that does take on too much, like we all do, when people don't react well, when you do try to put down healthier boundaries, right? Like when you do try to helpfully say, well, I would love to be able to do that, but just, it's just not something that I can take on right now. And so, how do you coach that? How do you elegantly, when you do start trying to build healthy boundaries and you're not sure how, because sometimes it is easier to do yourself. Sometimes people take advantage of that and pile it onto you and become less than what they can do in their abilities, so because they know that you'll get it done. So that's probably four or five questions in one, but how do you coach that?
Well, it's a good question. So I think that for me, it's really around being able to stay focused on what your main objective is, because I think it's easy for us to in other words, if this is around self-care, which for me that's what boundaries are, because to me boundaries say that I care enough about myself to say this is where the line is. I think how we say things matters. I teach people a lot to make it conversational when you're saying no. And sometimes we don't have to say the word no. I'd really love to help you out. It's just not a good time. This is not possible. I love Jim Rohn's quote that, what I permit, I promote. So if I keep, and I say this a lot in the team training that I do as well, is that, if that colleague of mine or my boss keeps coming to me at the last minute and I keep doing the same thing and helping them out, I've just now reinforced this really inappropriate exchange, this little pattern that we've now got set up. So it could be something as simple as, Frank, I'd love to help you out, but it's just not possible. Sometimes we just need to say no and nothing else.
And
See,
nothing
the thing
else.
is
Yeah.
that I'm not responsible for your feelings or your reaction. If I'm saying it, I mean, I talk about the 3 styles of communication, and I really simplify it. And I just say, look, we know what the shark is. That's pretty obvious. We know what the turtle is, can be very passive, puts their head in. Now we can be both in the sense of passive aggressive. I'll tell you that yes, I'll do it, but guess what? I won't meet the deadline. And the middle is the owl. So I want to stay with the I statements. The owl is very much the one that is looking over things strategically and saying, okay, so I know that Frank doesn't like no. So how do I want to approach him obviously at a good time. I don't want to do it when he looks stressed out. I don't want to do it when he's not feeling great. I want to make sure that I'm doing it in a way that's respectful, conversational. My tone of voice is very, wish I could help you out, Frank. It's just not doable. Mm-mm. Well, what do you mean? Like you've always done, I know. It's just not doable for me this time.
I
So
love
it
that.
becomes,
So refreshing. Truth makes sense, and you can't argue with that.
and don't you find sometimes, ladies, that sometimes we make it out bigger than it is.
Mhm.
Like for me, sometimes with certain people, I can struggle with saying no to them. Other ones, it's no problem.
And
So
maybe it's
I
because we feel a little guilty on
what's
top of
my
it,
fear?
right?
What's my fear?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
What I'm afraid of right now? Oh, I'm
Yeah.
afraid of disapproval. I'm afraid I'm going to hurt their feelings. But if I don't share with them the truth of how I feel, I'm actually being inauthentic. I'm not being true to the relationship. So, and I did work in, because it's such a great question you have. I worked with one leader and she said to me, Kate, oh my gosh, my senior leader has these great ideas and she keeps dropping my lap. And I'm already overcommitted. I mean, I'm doing meeting after meeting after meeting. And how can I survive? I said, I wonder if you sat down and showed her your schedule about everything you've got going on and say, okay, I know you're excited about this new project. Tell me what you want me to let go of.
Oh, yeah.
And that was powerful. And that's when her boss said to her, oh my gosh, There's no way you can do this. And I do this to myself. And it was very vulnerable and emotional exchange because she said, I realize I've got to back off because you got a lot going on. So to me, I think it's those authentic conversations that can be game changers.
The logic of that over emotion,
addressing it.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for that great 4 questions there, Ellen. I wish we had time to answer them all, but that's awesome. Four women and 4 questions.
And she's
that's
the
awesome.
incoming president. Woo!
I know. She's gonna rock it. Yeah, we're super excited. So let's switch gears a little bit because we want to be respectful of time and our listeners. And I know there's the 4 rooms that we probably haven't been diving into because the 4 rooms are actually in your book, and they do speak about the different 4 rooms, and we'll take a few minutes and just speak to those. And then after that, I want to talk about self-care during the holidays, because we're kind of facing that. Women in this profession are giving, and we have so much going on. So speak to us a little bit. Just tell us quickly about the 4 rooms, and then we're going to move into the holidays.
Gotcha. Well, the 4 rooms are quite simple. Your mentally fit room, your emotionally fit room, your physically fit room, and your spiritually fit room. And so I always say to people, when you're feeling, off, you're not yourself, check in. Which room needs your attention right now? Which room maybe have you got, do not enter, caution. Maybe you haven't gone there for too long. So for example, if I ever experience anxiety, I know that right there, I'm in my emotionally fit room. What do I need to ground myself to get anchored? So sometimes for me, it's very simple. Get out with Mother Nature. I know we're coming into some snow for some of us. Some of you are in beautiful weather in Georgia, so that's not an issue. But they've done neuroscience about getting barefoot actually on the grass, spending some time just doing some breathing exercises and really just letting go of the stress. If, for example, all of a sudden I start to get my lower back bothers me or my neck bothers me, now I'm in the physically fit room. So then I need to just check in with I'm simplifying this. Obviously, there's a lot more to this, but it may be something like, okay, so what's going on with my neck? Oh, right. My neck represents flexibility. Where am I trying to be the master of the universe again? Oh, right. God's not on vacation. Kate doesn't have to take this on yet again. So for me, my body gives me little whispers in the beginning. And if I don't pay attention, it may end up being a 2x4.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, I think our bodies do speak to us in many ways, especially as we're going through stress. It's going to show up someplace, right?
Yeah.
Neck, shoulder, back, tummy.
Absolutely. If I can just jump in and say too, I'm maybe not even a bit, I'm a research junkie. And so one of the things that, because I've been into women's health and wellness for so long and teaching fitness for 35 years, one of the things is that women that are in, which could be 40, I'm not naive because it could be any age, that it's so critical. I'm speaking to the physically fit room. The number one thing is exercise for us. Number one thing. Now I know because I've had the honor of working with funeral directors for the last 20 years, and you're just such a fun bunch. Everywhere I go, I tell people this, but it's true. You're just such a fun bunch to work with, and so real. And for me, it's really about, we have to make sure that we're using weights. We have to do weights at least twice a week. It's so very important because we're losing that muscle mass every year. We don't. And also, of course, for calcium and, all kinds of reasons, but especially because we need the physical release from the stressors that we're experiencing. So going back, if I could rewind the tape about some of the questions you were asking me, that's what's going to help us with the inner critic. That's what's going to help us with feeling more confident, is when we have the physical release. I'm aware that I didn't get a chance to work out this morning. So believe it or not, I was doing push-ups before I came on here. I was...
How many push-ups did you do, Kate?
No, I only did 11. I only did 11.
11. Are these real push-ups now?
Yeah.
You were on your toes, like not on your knees?
Yeah, the full push-up.
The full push, 11. Can anybody do 11 push-ups here in this room? Right, on your toes, really? Oh, good for you. Okay, so I need to work on that.
I'm so in agreement with that, with moving your body. In fact, I can tie my sleep directly to the days where, if I haven't had a chance to do something, get out and walk, walk my dogs, do Pilates. I do Pilates a couple days a week. On the days that I don't, I definitely see a difference. So 100%.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing that. That's beautiful. And you can tell with the glow of your face, by the way, that you work out. So, no, I mean
I
that
do.
sincerely. I mean that
I
because
try.
exercise is so good on so many levels. You're right. The sleep, your digestion, your confidence. Uh, I mean, there's so many things. We know that everything happens in the gut, and I don't mean that as a slang term, but everything happens in
Yeah.
your stomach. Uh, so, the more that we can relieve that
The benefits
body
of
of that
sleep are
stress,
amazing. Yeah.
right? Hmm.
Yep.
Okay, that's the
It
physical
is.
room. All right, so we have just like 2 minutes. Are we missing a couple rooms here? The
Well, the
spiritual
mental
and
fit room, that's
and the
probably
mental.
a
Yeah.
big one. So I'm a huge fan of how you start your day creates your day. So I always give people the power of four. And the first one is meditate or pray or both. And so even if it's 5 minutes of stillness, just getting with your breath, because I hear so many people saying to me, Kate, I can't meditate. My brain, I can't turn it off. Well, you're not supposed to. A good friend of mine is a former Buddhist monk and said, Kate, I don't know why people think that they have to empty their mind because we'll never empty our mind. I can tell you from experience, he said. So the first one is meditate or pray. The second one is move your body, which we've already talked about. That's a time where I encourage people to review their successes from the 24 hours before. The third is basically taking a look at your gratitude. What is it you're most grateful for? And the fourth one is your intention. How is it you want to show up today? Maybe you've got this service that you have to, lead, or you need to have that courageous conversation with somebody. How is it you want to show up? What you have control over is how you choose to show up. So it's being very intentional, being
I love that. I love that. All right, and then so those are all great tips, and I know a lot of them are in your book too. If you're not able to attend and be with us at the Wellness Summit, let's talk about the holidays before we conclude, because the holidays are ultra stressful. So we're all putting on in funeral service. Many of us have these holiday remembrance programs. We've got gifts to buy. We have parties to plan or attend, and then of course, what happens in funeral service right before the holidays, during the holidays, is increase of death rate. Bam. It's like boom, bam. And sometimes you think you have time to get everything done and you don't. So are there any daily rituals that you think we can do to protect our energy during these high stress times of year? And should we feel like, second question, should we really feel guilty about resting during the holidays?
oh
Of
my
course
God.
not, right?
No.
But what you just talked about a couple things we can do in our mornings. So maybe what should we do in our evenings before we go to bed? And then what can we do to step away and rest during the holidays and find time for that?
Great questions. Well, I mean, in the evening, it's really critical. I talk about sleep hygiene in my book, and that speaks specifically to the physically fit room. I think it's really important that no different than children. They need structure. They need that. This is what's next, and this is what's next. No technology in the bedroom. No technology. And I get some people that give me the pink eye, the stink eye when I say this, but it's really important that the room is dark, it's cool, and that there is no technology whatsoever in there. Now, I know some of you are on call, so I respect that. So it can be somewhere placed so it's not near your head, but at least somewhere where you can at least have some downtime. I'm huge on lavender oil, different things like that. I think, again, it's that repetition of slowing down the body, which then the brain goes, oh, we're getting ready for sleep. I think that's really important. One of the a sleep experts said that if you can actually write down a to-do list of everything you need to do the next day before you go to sleep, it helps you to empty things out. So at 3 a.m., you're not going, oh my gosh, do I need to follow up on that? Do I need to make that phone call? So by getting it out of your head, I think is really important. I think the biggest thing is just choose joy. I know that sounds so simple, right? I always tell people, okay, let's just fast forward. Now you've already completed the holidays. What is it you wanted to experience during that time? What does it look like? Are you going to be that frazzled mom or that frazzled, colleague or leader? Or are you going to say, no, I'm going to really be mindful of my yeses and mindful of my no's? I'm a huge fan of drinking lemon and water because it creates an alkaline system. We have a misunderstanding about that lemon is acidic. It's not. I think something simple as keep those psychic vampires at a distance. We all know who they are. Make sure those people that you kind of go, why did I call her? Why did I get support from her?
Spend time with people that uplift you rather than suck it out of you.
Oh my
Right?
gosh.
Yeah.
Whether it's in person or on the phone like that, I think that's very helpful.
And then there's a beautiful phrase I heard, I can't take credit for it. It's like, stop going to the hardware store to buy bread. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is brilliant. So I keep going to the hardware store to buy bread with this person. And
It's
that's
just not there.
what's there. It's just not going
It's
to
not there.
happen.
I know.
You're not
Our
gonna
to-do
find it.
list is so long too.
I
Like
think it's
we
nice.
gonna bake cookies, and then we're gonna go shopping, and then we're gonna go to the orchestra or the ballet or whatever, and we line up all these fun experiences, and then we realize we're so tired. Do we actually enjoy them very well? So I love this hot water and lemon. This is hot water, right? I've learned from a friend that it helps your digestion to always have a cup of hot water with lemon before you eat, and I think that's kind of a cool thing too. So peppermint is actually very healthy without the sugar. So if you can do peppermint, that's supposed to help you during the holidays. And then I love lavender. So how would you use lavender? Let's give a couple of tips on lavender. Is it in your
So I
pillow?
put some drops in a Kleenex and tuck it in your pillow. If I'm really, if I really think, okay, this is going to be, because I do some traveling, obviously, and I think, oh gosh, my mind's I'll literally put it, I'll put it actually on my jammies. Make sure they're not the good jammies, but I'll make sure literally so that I'm constantly breathing it all night long.
Oh, that's a great
And
idea.
obviously minimizing your sugar before you go to bed is really important. Anything like heavy in the way of exercise or food is difficult because now your body's trying to digest.
I love that. I love that. Great tips. Does anybody else have any tips that they do before they go to bed? We'll share with the group, and then we're going to come up with a really cool way to end this. What do you do at night? What's your nighttime routine?
I love, if I can remember to do this, is to read. And I really appreciated what you said too about prayer and meditation. Definitely trying to end the day with that. And I love to even invite somebody into that space with me sometimes. So I like my spouse. We like to do that together. For us, that's important. But those are my two things, and I think that's an all year long, but especially around the holidays.
Elisa, what do you do?
I don't really have a nighttime routine other than my washing my face and just kind of getting ready for bed like that. I leave my phone alone. So take my, I guess my hormones, the pills that I need to take before bed, my progesterone and my magnesium to help me sleep. So that's something I do every day. Otherwise, I don't really have a physical routine that I'm doing or mental routine that I'm doing.
Got it. What about you, Ellen?
I'm so tired. I want to go to bed right away.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So my answer isn't as elegant as y'all's. I have so much going on during the day, and then with 3 kids at home and 1 in college, by the time I get to go to sleep, I'm so exhausted I just go to sleep. So
Yeah, that's it.
mine is just to fill my day full. So that, and Scott and I one day were laughing, and Scott was like, I guess if people have a hard time sleeping, they're not doing quite as much as we're doing during the day. And I was like, I don't know that that's healthy. And he said, well, we'll figure it out one day. So
One day. When is that one day going to come? Oh gosh, yeah. Nighttime routine. I read as well. We have a sound machine in our room where we put on the ocean sounds.
Oh, that's
and that
cool.
really helps all of us sleep too. And I think it helps our puppies as well. So I think that's great. So anyway, one last thing we're going to do before we say goodbye to Cate. So we're going to ask her, because she wrote this incredible book called The Powerhouse in You, is what is one power phrase we can all take with us into the holiday season to remind us of our strengths?
Well, I think the obvious one is I am a powerhouse, but not just saying I am a powerhouse. I am a powerhouse. Sometimes that's even standing up and doing the victory pose. You might not want to do that in the grocery lineup, but I think, you might end up being first, who knows, but they might bump you ahead. So, but for
Or kick
me,
you out.
I'm a powerhouse is a really great one. I think that whatever your old limiting belief was, whether it's I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy enough, or I'm not smart enough, it's just like, yeah, own that. I am. One final thing I want to say too, Lisa, I know you just wanted one, but that friend of mine that is the former Buddhist monk said to me, Cate, at the core of all of us, we need to feel safe. So what happens for a lot of us is we've got so many balls in the air, And so it's this innate thing inside of us. So just saying the words, I am safe. And it might even just be that you pet your hand like you would a child or a pet. I am safe. I am safe. And you breathe differently when you do that. And you just breathe in the I am safe and exhale the anxiety or the fear or whatever you might be experiencing.
I love that. I love that. Okay, powerhouse statements. Anyone want to conclude with that after that great, like victory dance, right? So do they do that in Villa Rica? They do the V, right? So we do the M, in Missouri, right? It's for Missouri
Oh, I
Tigers.
love it.
Yeah, we do that. Or you could do the YMCA dance, right?
YMCA dance.
I had an instructor one time years ago at the Funeral Service Foundation. It was the former organization, and his name was Whit Schultz, and he taught us to do the ABCs with enthusiasm. And so if you're ever just feeling down or really tired or really exhausted, I was not a cheerleader. I couldn't do a cartwheel. My legs are too long. So, but I still remember that to this day. And you would just go A, right? And B, and you've got to do something to lift yourself up when you're really feeling down. So my power statement to me is Lisa, you can do it. Because I had a mentor tell me that. So you can do it. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. And so that when I feel lack of confidence in myself, I can do this. You can do this, right? What else do you all have? Let's share that as we end. Who wants to go first? Jump in.
It's probably the same. Like you have to talk yourself into things sometimes, right? And that's probably what you're saying. Like, okay, you can do this.
Right.
You got to do this, right?
You got to do this.
I think one thing I think one thing, like if I start feeling like guilty or bad that I couldn't do something, and I'm trying, I quote my son, it's not that deep. It's really not that deep or complicated, and it's going to be okay. And just try to work on that self-forgiveness and move past so that it doesn't mentally keep bogging everybody down. And my mom was like, she even said, well, this isn't a national security issue. Like, why are we still talking about it? And I'm like, you're right, Mom. Yeah. So those are two things that I tell myself a lot to just
really good. I got to remember that.
Release and let go. Yeah.
That's good. Although after this week with the whole government shutdown and it finally opened up today, we finally got an opening up. So flights hopefully get back on. So it's not a national security issue, but it is a national issue. So
yeah.
What do you say to yourself, Ellen? What do you say to yourself?
Melissa, I just went. So it's Melissa's turn, right?
Okay. All right. So
yeah, that's what I say to myself. The things that like I hear my mom say, like, Ellen, those are not national security issues or national issues, but like some of the stuff that I overstress about aren't. And so I just tell myself, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Do we need to take 5?
Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah, our grief therapy dog is confused and thinks he's a guard dog. So
I love it. I love it.
All so right, we all get a little confused at times and off track. So
that's okay.
Well, I love what Cate said. The I am statements are so powerful. So if I can add one in, I'd say I am worthy. I am valuable. And I am me.
Beautiful.
Applause. That's awesome. That's a perfect way to end. Well, we wish all of our listeners a wonderful holiday season, and using some of the tools from Cate's incredible book, The Powerhouse in You by Cate Collins. That's CateCollins. If you haven't had a chance to read it, grab it on Amazon. If you're coming to the Wellness Summit, you will receive a gift of Cate's book, and she'll be there to sign it. So we are grateful to you, Cate.
Awesome.
Thank you again for being with us, and thank you for all you do. I know you've spoken in funeral service before, but I want to especially thank you for all you do for women in our profession. And, we cross the borders with everything that you are coming down to the U.S. and into Arizona, back to your place where you can speak to all of us at our Wellness Summit. We're grateful. So thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, wonderful.
Ladies, 4 Women in a Funeral, signing off, giving our heart signs with our little hands.
Can I get one?
Yeah. Hearts for November. And a victory. Let's do a V. Here we go. V's.
Oh, good.
All right. Oh, that's good. That's good. All right. Signing off. Follow us in December. We'll be back. And thanks to all our listeners for being with us again today. Please let us know if you love our podcast. Go on and give us good ratings. We are 4 Women and a Funeral.
4 Women and a Funeral is a Crabshell Media podcast.